Hello, and welcome to BPI's On-Demand webinar series. Today, we're going to be looking at digital transformation and where to start your journey. My name is Michael Taylor, and I'm the CTO here at BPI, and I'll be guiding you through some thoughts around digital transformation, why it doesn't need to be scary, and how we can help you on your journey through this. A lot of the time when we start to talk to people about a digital transformation journey, we get a lot of concerns, we get a lot of worry, a lot of people who are scared for different reasons around why they should do this. A lot of the time this is financially based, it's around how much it's going to cost. But for a lot of other people, it's some of the softer reasons. Is it too much change? Is it too difficult, too big to do in one go? Is it going to make their life more complicated? Are they really going to see much ease and much improvement from what is deemed a lot of time and effort into this approach? And these are very common questions that we see across different markets, across different industries, and across businesses of all sorts of different scales. And a really good example of this came up recently in the press from Lidl. So Lidl had been on a multi-year, multi-million pound project to bring in SAP HANA. And they'd been working through this whole digital transformation approach to this. And it came up in the press recently that Lidl had decided to completely scrap this project. They put a hold to it, they completely stopped it, and the cost that they'd already accrued was something in the region of 500 million euros. Now, a lot of people will, of course, ask questions about, well, how can you give up on so much investment that you've already put in? And what is it that leads a business to make those decisions? And a lot of this comes back to those original questions that we just spoke about with regards to the amount of change, the amount of complexity, and the simple cost. And in this case, that cost was not necessarily what they had already spent, but the amount of cost that was believed that was necessary to complete the project to where they needed to be. So the truth about digital transformation is, yes, it can be scary, but it absolutely doesn't have to be. There are a number of things that you can do in your business to ensure that your transformation journey is a far more easy and stomachable one. The first thing that we'd like to explore is a slightly more generic piece around why projects fail. Any digital transformation journey is, in essence, a project or a program with a series of projects within it. These can be IT-based projects, these can be system-based projects, they can be process-based projects, but they are at their core all a series of projects that come together to complete this journey. So why is it that projects fail? There are, of course, a number of different reasons, and each project and each company is unique. But there are some key categories from experience that we have seen that really do play into this. One of the biggest items which ties into that fear is a lack of change management. Change management doesn't necessarily mean stopping change or preventing change, although if there is a fear of too much change, you may certainly want to limit the amount of change that happens over a period of time. But change management is equally about how you communicate change, how you involve others in that change. And change management is a huge amount about communication. Letting your business and all its facets know about the changes that are coming, but importantly, about how it is going to benefit them. That second fear of, is it going to make my life, my work more complicated? Your change management process should be making it clear to them how it's going to make their life easier, how it is going to improve. We're talking about communication from the beginning, prior to the project kicking off or the program commencement, actual communication to the business that there is change coming in the future. This is why. This is how we are going to improve all our lives and our business for us, for our customers, and for everybody that we engage with. Another thing that we see is a lack of process design, particularly where you're looking at a system implementation. There is often a lot of focus on how the system looks and its functions. When we talk about process design, we mean looking at the business's functions and how any system that is brought into place or any change that is made to a current way of doing things backs that process. If you talk to many companies about their sales process, it will say the only people involved in their sales process are salespeople. Now, it is very true that the salespeople run and push the sales process, but they, in many cases, are not the only people involved. They may have to seek approval from a finance team. They may need contractual input from a legal team. There must be some interaction with either a production or a manufacturing or a delivery team for whatever product or service it is that you are selling, to know that there is capacity and resource to deliver as you are hoping to sell to your customer. So the sales team does not act in isolation within its sales process. And we see from many companies that they view this process in isolation. And when you break down those silos, when you look at how the teams interact with each other, you quite often see individuals met with surprise and often handle it with humor when they see how broken their ways of working are. So it's always important in any project that you look at the people and the process and how they work together. Another item that comes up a lot is training. Not just training on the day of go live, but an ongoing training program. Any change to a business, be it for a new system or a change in a process, needs to be explained, needs to be taught to, again, all of those who are involved in this. Now, as we are all humans, we do have a tendency to forget things. So it's important that there is a backup mechanism that allows people to review and revisit key topics and key instructions from what it is that they are looking to do. Training is actually one of the biggest impacts on user adoption. People who don't know what they're doing will often not try, or they'll try in the wrong way. They'll find workarounds. They'll do something that's perhaps a slower, a more complicated way to approach a task, which breeds dissatisfaction. Many projects fail after go live because people don't adopt the process or the system, because they're not comfortable and happy with how they do things, because they don't see the benefits to them. So they give up. And a lot of this ties into training. And finally, there's often too much manual work. This can be within the project. There can be elements of asking people to do their day job and the project work at the same time, which can be too much for people. Or it can be that perception of change. Change and difference is worse or is more. So again, that ties back to all these pieces around communication and change management, the process design, the training, to ensure that that is not a view that is taken. So of course, in any approach, it's important to set yourself up for success. Every business is different. So any strategy needs to fit your business, your culture, your ideals. But whatever that strategy looks like, we would always advise a crawl, walk, run approach. And it's interesting how often we see in projects that people just want to run immediately. Now, sometimes that can be, if it is a change of process or a change of system, that they don't want to take a backward step. And that's completely understandable. You are operating at a speed, and you don't want any delays or business impact on that. However, what you may have found is that with your existing process or system, you've created complications. You've created workarounds. The pace you are moving at is, in fact, a symptom of where you are. And to slow that down a bit, to simplify how you are operating and how you are moving, may actually bring huge improvements if you're willing to look at that and what can be done. So when we talk about crawling, we're not talking about stopping everything. We're not talking about large business impacts. We're talking about starting with where you are and having actually a very good look. Evaluate your current processes. Look at your current infrastructure and systems. And ask yourself two important questions. One, how can you improve what you currently have? Versus, is there actually a need to change it? Now, whether you decide to make improvements to what you currently have or whether you decide to change that setup, when it comes to the walking phase, you want to identify some quick wins. It may be that in your process review, you identify a duplication step. Somebody has to do something twice. Maybe it's entering in two different systems. Points of integration, opportunity to tie systems or departments together, be it a process or technical solution, so that that information is only having to be entered once, will be something people will immediately buy into. They will see the benefit and it gives their time back. It's often good, quick wins. The other thing you need to ensure in this phase is that you have your stakeholders on board. Now, by stakeholders, we don't necessarily mean your business executives, although there may be some of those involved. We mean the stakeholders from across the interaction points. These may well be majority internal, although they could stretch across the business. But again, you also need to think about your external stakeholders, your suppliers, your partners, your customers. Have a strategy about how you're going to keep them involved, keep them engaged, and how you're going to show them the value and benefit behind what you're seeking to do. Now, if you've got all of this going and you're comfortable and settled, maybe it is time to run. What does that mean? Often running is looking at a slightly bigger picture. It's maybe thinking a little further ahead. But it may actually just be thinking slightly broader, slightly wider. Are there big gaps in what you're doing, either from a technology point of view or from a process point of view? This goes beyond the need for a change. A change implies you've got something you're doing, but you want to change how you're doing that. This is more around something you're missing. Many years ago, one of the big changes that people started that was introducing something new was around social media. At BPI, we very much believe in helping businesses go through this journey. We believe in helping businesses get through that crawl and walk stage so that they can start to run and they can start to think about the bigger picture, things they're missing in the future. And our philosophy is to look at 4 key elements around your business and how we can help. The first is the people. There are so many old sayings about people don't buy from companies, they buy from people. And various other things around how businesses are actually built on people. People is one of the most important things. The communication and involvement with them, the enablement of them to do their jobs, support them in what it is you're asking and frankly paying them to do. And as we said, people don't like surprises. Engage with them, bring them on board, and they will help drive your program, your project, your digital transformation, as well as adopting and helping you get through those steps. Adoption is our second focus point, to the point we actually want to be driving this towards advocacy beyond adoption. How does this help improve their life, their journey, their work? That means that future adoption is taken care of. As staff change, as they inevitably will, the advocates in your business will ensure new people in will adopt your processes and your systems. They will also, in a constructive manner, highlight and bring to the fore new ideas and future possibilities of how you can improve further through that engagement. Third is around process. As we highlighted, one of the major reasons that projects fail. At the end of the day, any system that you have in place should be supporting a process you are trying to fulfill. And you should not be changing your process to fit into the system that you have. Your processes may cover legislative requirements. There may be industry regulators that say there are certain things you have to do. The processes may differ with the culture of your business. The process is really the life and the heartbeat of what your company does. And everything around it needs to support that. So it's important those processes are understood. It's important those processes are aligned and uniform. And it's important those processes ensure that everybody can work together in the easiest way for all concerned. And the fourth key area that we focus on is around data. Any system that you have is going to be a repository for data. Any reports and outputs that you're looking for are only going to be as good as the data that has gone into it. This data may feed from other systems. This data may be fed manually by the users. But it's really important to have strategies and KPIs around how that data is going to be fed into the system, how it is going to be maintained, how it is going to be kept clean and up to date. Legislation, as we saw earlier this year with GDPR, around how data is kept, is very important, has to be considered, as well as all the other elements from the own internal point of view that are just as important about the view that you have of the data and your reporting capabilities off of the back. So we bring our philosophy and these focuses to help businesses with that digital transformation journey to ensure that there isn't complexity or too much change. Those fears can be set at ease. So how can we help you achieve this? A digital transformation can be seen a little bit like a cake. You have a number of ingredients to this: your processes, your people, your technology. As with any cake, if you buy cheap ingredients and have poor equipment in the baking of it, you may not get a good result. If your recipe is wrong, you can have all the right ingredients, you can have, all the right equipment, but if your recipe is wrong, you're not going to get a good cake. So it's really important that you get all of these things right. Your ingredients are correct, your equipment's correct, your recipe is correct. And then you can take away that fear, you can take away that risk and have that successful project. You can have your cake and eat it. So what's next? Please tune into our next webinar to be released next month in October and hear about another topic, the way in which BPI can help you. Sign up for updates. Feel free to visit our website and sign up there. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on LinkedIn. Reach out to us directly and see if we can help you with your journey. I hope you have found that informative and useful, and I hope that there are some things in there that you all feel that BPI can help you with. I look forward to speaking with many of you in the future directly and helping you with your digital transformation journey. Thank you very much.